So I have found a workaround for the inability to bind keys for joysticks with a modifier, like Control, Left Alt, or Right Alt. Normally, lower button numbers glitch out when attempting a bind. If you have seen garbled mess or empty boxes for characters, this is happening to you. You'll need to run the programs vJoy and Joystick Gremlin. For those who haven't run these before, download them from the links in the description and get started configuring your controllers. When you have the virtual joystick set up, you can continue and follow along with the workaround. In my case, I need 2 joysticks since my sticks already have 8 axes combined, which is the maximum allowed by a single controller. My pedals add a 9th axis, which will go to the second joystick input. Having Joystick Gremlin will allow you to set sensitivity curves and dead zones into your input so you can run them in other games which don't have it integrated like Star Citizen does. It will also allow you to get more advanced and set functions like key presses, macros, and much more I don't even mess with. As an additional side note, using another program called Hide, you can hide your physical controllers from Star Citizen and any program so they don't see it and try to bind the base keys or access. If you only need one virtual stick, you would never again need to worry about the order being wrong and having to use the pp_resort devices command to swap out the binds to the new controller order. With 2, it's one simple swap if the order were to get messed up. This, however, does not happen to me anymore for unknown reasons. So long as your vJoy is running before you launch Star Citizen, you can plug in your sticks and re-enable Joystick Gremlin once you find you're unable to launch your ship and not have to restart the game. My case can show you a use example for advanced bindings. I use a thumb button on my stick for VoIP. This can also toggle mute my external programs. Combined with my bottom thumb button as Left Alt and Right Alt, I can activate proxy VoIP, broadcast VoIP, change VoIP channel, and toggle mute my external programs like Discord with just one button. Having the Left and Right Alt available also allows all my other buttons to have 4 different bindings available at one time, so I can bind every relevant keybind in Star Citizen to my sticks. This also meant that in recent patches, my keybinds were unable to bind except for the base bind with no modifiers. After reinstalling Windows and having no programs to interfere with the input, I knew it was a problem with Star Citizen itself. The issue council report has recently been changed to fix, but this is not true. So, let's get into it. As you saw earlier, these numerically lower buttons are the problem inputs. At a certain number, this ceases to happen. I've only bothered to go as low as 25, but I think I can go near 10 or so. You will need to set your button count higher in your virtual joystick. I have 32 buttons across my sticks, so initially I chose to make 64 to completely clear the default amount. When mapping your physical buttons to the virtual ones, you can start at the highest amount and go backwards, or math it out, whichever might work best for you. 33 was an easy starting number for me, going all the way up to 64. Virtual hats are also at a low enough value to cause corruptions, so for these binds, we will head to the Action Type drop-down menu and select Hat buttons to add them. This will allow us to bind each directional input to an individual button, allowing the hats to clear the glitch zone. When I bind a physical access to a virtual one, I also add a response curve. Adding 2 control points will allow a cubic spline, which has 1 inflection point centered at the origin. You can see with my points, I have a typical ramp-up cushion as you would see by adding a curve in Star Citizens. Dead zones are also individually configurable for each side. If you have an asymmetrical dead zone, you may also be able to slide the spline towards the larger faulty input until you can set an equal dead zone on each side. If it's a large enough discrepancy, this can help even out the force required to achieve the same input on each side. Ditching this example scenario for my default binds, this setup is now ready to bind in Star Citizen. If we head back to this problematic bind, we can now see that it will bind as expected. You may need to prepare to rebind all your keys. I don't know any commands or macros to rebind everything to the offset higher values, but what can help immensely in binding such a large amount of input is a binding chart. I use Buzzkiller's binding charts. They are easy to modify and have my devices in them. I have not updated these charts with all my recent bindings, but it may still serve as an inspiration if you like. I use this by going through the binding menus methodically and referring to the chart one by one for each binding buttons and pressing the associated buttons. Once you've gotten this far, you are all set and should be right on your way to once again enjoying your sticks to the fullest. For keyboards, you might decide to use Joystick Gremlin and rebind every key to the virtual joystick if you don't use the default bindings and need this workaround. It certainly might be an option. I hope you enjoyed my presentation of this workaround and perhaps found a new inspiration from these programs to level up your binding game. Good luck out there in the verse.